Good afternoon, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here, and congrats to Hugh for just organizing such a great session, and we're learning so much today. As we know, countries around the world have committed to reducing their emissions by 2050 to zero, and based in Ghana, Her Excellency Samira Bawumia is a global champion for the Clean Cooking Alliance and the World Health Organization's Health and Energy Platform of Action. It is an honor to be here with you, Your Excellency.
It's my pleasure.
You have also been a staunch advocate of incorporating more female representation into the design and implementation of clean energy solutions, something we don't talk enough about. Here's an interesting stat. How many people cook at home? Raise your hand. Well, get this. Globally, nearly 4 million people a year die from illnesses linked to cooking with these polluting fuels, and it disproportionately impacts women, as you can imagine. And Your Excellency, you've been really working on finding a solution to this. What does that look like?
Well, thank you for having me. And I'm glad that we're talking about clean cooking at this forum. It's one of those undersold but powerful tools to end poverty and deal with the climate issues. As you said, globally, 4 million people are dying. Almost everybody said they cook in their homes. And for most of the population of the world, they use unclean fuels, unclean technology to cook. And this is causing a major health issue for most people. In Ghana, for example, lack of clean cooking solutions is the second health issue we have in Ghana, and it's same around the world. And so it's a long issue to deal with, but yes, so generally it's sort of the undersold story in the development issue.
And it's a particular issue in Africa specifically, right?
Yes. In Africa, Africa bears the brunt of unclean cooking. Most people are using unsafe fuels to cook. And so what is even important is to say, look, how much are we spending on all our other deliverables, on health, on education, on women empowerment? And primarily, clean cooking delivers on all of that. And I've been in places where they say, why clean cooking? But yes, if the household air pollution is dealt with, we have a healthier family. If clean cooking is resolved, we have better education for our kids. We have better healthcare for women, women empowerment. And so these are some of the issues that come up when we talk about household clean cooking, especially in Africa.
And using more organic oils, the ones that aren't bad for the environment.
Absolutely.
Something that you've been pushing for as well.
Absolutely, and also looking at the technology that we use. So what sort of fuels are we using? What sort of cook stoves are we using? Are they efficient for cooking? We find women spending about 3 hours cooking just a simple meal. And this is a woman that we're trying to empower to be able to help her community, her family. So those are some of the issues that we're looking at.
As we shared, you are a member of the WHO's high-level coalition on health and energy, and really in order to ensure universal access to affordable clean energy by 2030, what exactly needs to be done, and how can women play a role?
Well, it is a gender issue, just to put it bluntly, because in most households it's the women who are cooking, so they bear the brunt of all the unclean cooking. The Health and Energy Platform for Action last year, ahead of COP, issued sort of a plan for action towards the COP in the hope that, we will get some deliverables. And it's to say basically that we want clean cooking to be a development issue, so it should be treated as such. We also want to see private and public investments in the process as well. We also want to see corporations within government, non-governmental organizations to lift the subject up, to get tailor-made investments, and we should look at country by country innovation that is relevant to people. For instance, you find clean cooking solutions in Asia that don't work in Africa because our methods of cooking are different and our energy needs are different. So basically, that's what HEPA is looking at doing.
Just an hour ago, Global Citizens Power Our Planet campaign really kicked off, and it does discuss how critical financing is needed to make a lot of these climate change goals a reality. What would projects and investments, what would Ghana be able to do with those funds?
Well, Ghana has introduced an energy transition plan, and clean cooking is a major part of it. We're looking at a cylinder recirculation model, which hopes to have about 500,000 cylinders in circulation. We're looking at having off-grid electricity power plants in about 300 communities. Ghana is one of the most electrified communities, but because we're sparsely populated, so the connectivity is an issue. We're looking at that. As part of the clean energy transition, we also want to innovate, make sure women are part of the decision making. They're part of the supply chain and helping in looking at the innovations that work for them. I think it's taken so long where women are told what they need, but we need to bring women to the table. So that's some of the investments that would go into the clean cooking sector. But I mean, Power Planet is basically a social justice issue. It's a poverty ending issue. So beyond clean cooking, there are also investments that can be made in Ghana with that sort of financing. We have to look at how we integrate a rail system, for instance, so that we can reduce post-harvest losses. We can bring food back to the cities from the farms. We can connect cities. So there's so much that can be done in terms of increasing social justice and ending poverty with this fund.
What gives you confidence, Your Excellency, in these goals being met in the coming years?
Well, this room, for starters, because we're talking about it as such an important forum. I know the power of all of us working together. I know the power of articulating our needs. And once we put people at the center of what we do, and we think of it as, it's not just somebody we're doing things for, it's all of us we're doing things for. I mean, this climate issue, for instance, can also trigger conflict. Why do we want to be here and feel like we're insulated from it? So I know that together we can make things happen. And if we're ready, if we're willing, and I know we're able, we have to do it now.
I know you spend a lot of time traveling, not just across your country, but around the world. How would you characterize how supportive the United States has been in Ghana reaching its goals?
Well, the U.S. has been supportive in Ghana in different sectors and different areas. So I suppose there is more to be done, I must say, but it's not just the US. I mean, the EU and even Africa themselves and us as Ghanaians as well, we have an ambitious plan to lift our people out of poverty. I think it's also worth noting that the whole world is going through a crisis right now. The post-pandemic situation, economic situation, the war in Russia has disrupted supply chains, inflation is off the roof, and prices are high, poverty is increasing. So this is the time for all of us to reach out to each other to say, nobody should be left behind. Let's carry each other along.
You are an inspiration. Thank you for all your great work, and thank you for your time today. Mrs.
Thank you so
Bawumia,
much.
Your Excellency.